This teaches us that all of us still have something we can learn. I don't care how long you've been in school already, how many degrees you may have already. You may be considered wise among men, but the wisdom that comes from God is greater, higher. It goes far beyond the wisdom of the academic world that we live in, the wisdom that is built on human intellect, human knowledge. I'm going somewhere with this. Sometimes when we have reached the apex, what we would feel is the highest ceiling of human knowledge, we now list ourselves or identify ourselves as being wise. We have attained, we have arrived. And if you're not careful, there are some men and women who have reached great scholastic aptitude, who have great accomplishments in the academic world, and they think they have finished, they have arrived. Solomon is saying, you know what? I still see room for growth. A real wise man will embrace the wisdom that comes from God to do what? To increase his knowledge. To know that there's still something that he does not know. You've heard this statement before. The greatest evidence of true human wisdom is to know that you don't know everything, that you have not arrived, you have not finished, you're not done. So in our natural accomplishments, we cannot allow ourselves to become content and satisfied because we believe we have climbed, the ladder of success and we've reached the final stage, the final segment. Solomon says a wise man, truly wise man, will acquire God's wisdom so he can learn more and so that he can develop greater counsel, wise counsel around him. Let's look at the last verse there, verse 6. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. This verse is key to leading us into our focal verse for today's program. Listen, this understanding, the desire for Solomon to leave behind this teaching about wisdom was so that men could understand the Proverbs and the interpretation, so that we could understand the dark saying. Notice the term that's used, dark saying. Solomon says, I could have spoken of wisdom openly, but I chose to speak of it darkly, hidden as a treasure, to force men that really want God's wisdom to chase after it. To chase after the God of wisdom. Watch this. Verse 7. Here's our key verse. Verse 7 says, the beginning of knowledge. The beginning. I want you to see this here. In verse 7 it says that this is where knowledge is to begin. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. The fear of the Lord. This is the teaching point. The fear of the Lord is where knowledge should begin. See, instead of you and I thinking that we have reached a high point, we have reached an ending point, we have garnered so much scholastic accomplishment that we are now at the top of our class, our human class, and there's no more room for growth, no more room for expansion. Solomon says, truthfully, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. You can have all the degrees and all the natural accomplishments in this life, but if you did not begin with the fear of the Lord, then you have not begun.